Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothed the grass, which is today in the field and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
It's the book of Hebrews 6 and 17. Get right to the point, wherein the Heavenly Father, or God, which his name is Yahweh, his son's name is Yahushai, wherein God willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise. Who's that? That's the nation of Israel, beginning with the elect. The heirs of promise. Heir means someone who's set to inherit something. The first thing we're going to inherit, those of us that are part of the elect, is salvation by Yahushai into those chariots. Then we're going to inherit those new bodies that the Apostle Paul talked about. As a matter of fact, the Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians 15, we shall be changed in the twinkling of an eye. Like that, we're going to get these new indestructible bodies. In other words, we're never going to die. Death is going to be a thing of the past. So we're going to be like gods. Psalms 82 and 6. You know, we're going to have godlike powers in the flesh. We're going to have godlike powers in the flesh. I just gave you a couple of examples of what we're set to inherit. That's why it says heirs of promise. So let's read it again. Wherein the Heavenly Father willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise, and hopefully that's us, the immutability of his counsel. Now let's look up that word. That's a big word, man. Immutability. Let's define that word. Immutability comes from the word immutable. It says unchanging over time or unable to be changed. So the Heavenly Father's word is unable to be changed. It cannot change.
For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
So my daughter tells us you're in television.
At only $40 a month.
Unlike that last overpriced package.
Why can't you just be happy I can stream my favorite channels for less?
This family has values.
Sling is value.
Sling, the live TV.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing, salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. All right, and what I want to get into, all right, this afternoon, we're dealing with, all right, fifth generation warfare, all right, and the power of propaganda. And one thing about it, is we realize what the devil is up to. The Bible, preps, the elect, all right, to have, a counter, for what the left hand is doing, for the deception, for the misinformation, for the enchantments, that's coming from the left. All right, well, on the right hand side through the Bible, we have a counter in righteousness, man, and now, the teachings of the gospel, the teachings of the scriptures make more sense as we realize what the devil is doing, man. You know, so first I want to get this term fifth generation warfare. Okay, so we can just be familiar with that. All right, so when you go here to fifth generation warfare, okay, it says fifth generation warfare is warfare that is conducted primarily through non-kinetic military action, such as social engineer, misinformation, cyber attacks, along with emerging technology such as artificial intelligence and fully autonomous systems. Fifth generation warfare has been described by Daniel Abbott as a war of information and perception. Okay, the war of information and perception. There is no widely agreed upon definition of fifth generation warfare, and it has been rejected by some scholars. All right, and this is what these devils are doing. Okay, what they would hit the term info wars. Okay, well, this is a real information war between good and evil. Okay, and what does the information do? It changes the perception, all right, of the people. Information changes the perception of the people. All right, and a lot of people, because we was even, engulfed in misinformation. Okay, which is what the scripture referred to as darkness. You see, but now we walk in light. Okay, so the war. This is why. Matter of fact, let's get some precepts. Okay, there's only one way to combat this fifth generation war, and it's in the spirit. Okay, so let's go here. And go to the blue letter. And the masses don't even know, okay, about this fifth generation warfare that's taking place. All right, people don't know that they're under complete attack. And I got some videos, that's going to go into it. Now, let's go here. And now, as we understand these things and we are not ignorant, matter of fact, let's get there first, and then we'll get there. The precept talk. This is Second Corinthians. Salakia, 2 Corinthians. All right, this is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. It said, "Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." Okay, we're not ignorant of the devices of Satan. And see, the reason why Esau Edom has such an advantage, all right, on the masses, because the masses are ignorant to his devices. All right, Esau Edom is deep, okay, into his wickedness, man. Okay, the scriptures say he's more subtle than any creature. All right, he's extremely shrewd and crafty when it comes to wickedness, man. Okay, and a lot of people are not privy to this man's devices, man, and how he gets down, his intent. Okay, now you go to devices, says a mental perception and thought, an evil purpose. Okay, an evil purpose, man. You see, and through his propaganda, this man is bringing about what? Nothing but evil purposes, man. Okay, and we're gonna get into them. Well, let's go here. You see, the scriptures lace us with the knowledge, okay, that counters, Esau's enchantments, man. It's 2 Corinthians 2, 10 and 3. 2 Corinthians 10 and 3 says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh." Okay? Because at the end of the day, it don't matter how many, because a war, is based on casualties. Like the winner of war is based on, casualties. Okay? But this is a different type of warfare. So it wouldn't matter how many Edomites, died. All right? If you still had the elites in power in these high places, the ideology and the enchantments that dominate the earth will still continue. Okay? So it's not a battle. in the flesh. That's why it's not on sight when we see an Edomite. Okay? Because this is spiritual warfare. All right? And through the scriptures, verse 4, 2 Corinthians 4 said, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty, all right, through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds. Okay? So our weaponry is the scriptures, man. All right? And the power behind the scriptures is Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. So when you get, let's get this in the NLT. Pulling down the strongholds. NLT says, we use the Most High's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons. Okay? You can shoot a million rounds, okay, and you wouldn't affect, okay, the enchantments that's going forth in the earth. All right? Worldly weapons are not useful in spiritual war. It says to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments. It says strongholds of human reasoning. And where is human reasoning formed at, man? The media, okay, the school systems, the religious systems, okay, which are all in the extensions of Esau's propaganda. Okay, the Christian doctrine is nothing but what they call dogma, but it's propaganda. Okay, the feminist movement, the segregation movement, okay, civil rights movement, okay, is all propaganda used by the devil. You see, street culture, nigga, all this is propaganda. Okay, because you have people that live their life based on a rap song. And a lot of us know, because we did. I know I did it. You would try to go live out a rap song, man. Our reasoning came from our favorite rapper. A lot of us, man. Or our favorite character in some type of movie, man. Okay? Niggas want to be O-Dog, you know, Kane. You see? Let's go from there. Nino Brown, you know, Scarface, the Mac. Okay? All these things were used to form the reasoning, especially amongst the tribe, man. Okay? But through this weaponry, what are we doing? Casting down the imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of a Mashiach, man. Okay? So as we now understand righteousness, okay, we're able to subdue wicked thoughts through the power of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. You know? We're able to subdue these thoughts. All right? So let's go here. And I wanna, let me see. I got a few videos I want to get into. Yep, the brother got the definition of propaganda. Yep, let's get it. You know, so we got some videos to get into as well. All right, so let's get the definition of propaganda, which is it's from the brother GMS Pray Always Hope for Elect, brother Corner Waf, Shalom to you, Akim, you know, Wakim tuning in. Okay, it says propaganda consists of a plan or use, all right, of any form of public mass-produced communication designed to affect the minds and emotions of a group for a specific purpose, okay, whether military, economic, or political. All right, and we're going to get into these things, man. So I want to start off with this video here. Let me go ahead and cue it up. You know, let me cue it up. Now, this is a ex-KGB, and KGB is like the Russian version of the CIA. You hear KGB, it's like the Russian version of CIA. The agents, federal agents, Secret Service, and the special ops. Okay, so this guy here, which is Yuri Bezmenov, all right, Yuri Bezmenov. Okay, so he defected to America, and he began to go into these interviews, and he broke down, okay, how governments break down the masses, okay, to subvert and convert the masses into the way that they want them to think, a desired way of thinking. Okay, so let me blow it up. So I'm gonna let it play, and we'll go from there.
When the Soviets used the phrase, well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets used the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There's no mystery. There's nothing to do with espionage. I know that espionage intelligence gathering looks more romantic. It sells more deodorants through the advertising, probably. That's why your Hollywood producers are so crazy about James Bond type of thrillers. But in reality, the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of intelligence at all. According to my opinion and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process, which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy.
So he's saying that, it's a psychological warfare, and it's a slow process. And phase 1 is demoralization. Okay? And which these are the things that we've seen happening. This is why the scriptures, okay, when if a brother, let's get that Job 10 and 22. Let's get Isaiah 5 and 20. Okay. Let's get that Habakkuk 2 and 15. Let's get that Jeremiah 2 and 21, because this is what these devils have done. Okay? The things that are normal now wouldn't even be thought of, in the 40s, okay, the 30s. Some things that are being done wouldn't even been thought of in the early 90s, man. The things that this man has made normal, the wickedness that this man has made normal, man. But that's part of the demoralization process, okay? Because once you destroy the morals, okay, what they call the moral fabric of a society, okay, the order is gone, the structure is gone, Okay, and he can infuse his ideologies. Once this devil, that's how this devil moves. If he can get you confused, okay, on righteousness, okay, if he can get you to question righteousness just like he did Eve, okay, then he can infuse his wickedness, man. Okay, let's go here. This is Job 10 and 22. A land of darkness, as darkness itself. All right, it's the brother GMS prayer, always hope for elect. Okay, it says, as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death without any order, and where the light is as darkness. Okay, so he has presented darkness as the light, as the way. Okay, which has created what? A society of no order. Okay, this is a society of mass confusion, man. The average family, all right, exists in some form of chaos, man, because he was able to get people to separate from morals, man. And the scriptures give us what's right and what's wrong, man. Okay, this is the book of Habakkuk 2 and 15. Brother GMS prayer, always hope for elect. Woe to him that giveth his neighbor drink. And how did he do this? Through the media, through the music, through religion. Okay, this drink is speaking of philosophy, a way, an influence. Okay, he has the earth has a spiritual DUI, you know, a OUI, operating under the influence of what? Wickedness, man. This is the drink that he passes throughout the earth. Okay, and it's full, and the scriptures say that their cup was what? Full of abominations. That the woman that rode the whore, which is America, and the cup was full of what? Abominations, demoralization. You see? And it says that puttest thy bottle to him and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look upon their nakedness. Okay? So people are intoxicated with the philosophies of demoralization and filth and lewdness and perverseness, man. Okay, to now, like he said, look, when you're demoralized, you have no knowledge to defend your family. You're naked, you know. Hey, you see? Let's go here. Jeremiah 2 and 21. Yet I have planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How then art thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? Okay, it was a phase of demoralization. And you know, it was mainly attacked at the tribes, you know, aimed at the tribes, man. Okay. The degenerate culture is the norm amongst our people now. You know, and what do you have? A culture amongst our people where degenerates just breed more degenerates, man. Yep. This is the book of Job 15 and 16 from the brother Naquan 5. How much more abominable and filthy is man which drinketh of iniquity like water? Okay, because water is what is a necessity. It's an essential part of life. Okay, it's something that is natural. Now iniquity and sin and filth has become natural through Esau's demoralization of the masses, man. If a brother can get that definition of the demoralization, you know, Baba Kasha. All right. So I'm gonna let him play some more. Let Baba Kasha, whenever brother can find the definition.
With your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There is no mystery. There is nothing to do with espionage. I know that espionage intelligence gathering looks more romantic. It sells more deodorants through the advertising, probably. That's why your Hollywood producers are so crazy about James Bond type of thrillers. But in reality, the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of intelligence at all. According to my opinion and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process, which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy.
I want to make that point as well. You know, if a brother can get that 2 Corinthians 4:3 and verse 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3 and verse 4. Now, he said, I want to make this point. He said it takes 15 to 20 years to pretty much brainwash a generation. Why? Okay. What are you doing in 15 years? You see, you're in his school system. You're in his school system. So from kindergarten to 12th grade, was it 12 years, 13 years? And then some people go to school, 2 years. That's 15. Some go longer than that. 15, 16, 17. Okay. So now he got it mapped out. And that why you think that he's going to the kindergartners he's starting at kindergarten with this sex education. When it comes to the alphabet, sex education. Why you think he's going to kindergartners? He's starting, all right, to groom another generation. He considered, our generation done. Like we done already been over-sexualized. Most of the women been ran through. A lot of niggas degenerates. Okay? This generation pretty much accept anything. Most of them's Christian still. Okay? So he like, this generation, I done did my work on them. He still does things here and there, but now the emphasis is on the next generation. He already got a 15-year, 20-year plan for these kindergarten, these children that's in kindergarten now, man. Okay? He's finna put them on a whole another wave of perverseness and lewdness, man. Okay? This is how this man operates. Now, the brother, GMS prayer, always hope for elect. All right, this is demoralized. All right, it says to undermine the confidence of morale of, to dishearten an inconsistent policy that demoralizes staff. It says to put in disorder. Yeah, this is the main definition. To put into disorder, to confuse the land of darkness when there is no order. Okay, to debase the morals of, to corrupt. To debase the morals of, or to corrupt. Now we live in a society where people just have debased morals. Everyone lives like a base man because Esau is a base man, as the scriptures say. You see? This man's a goddamn devil, man. So I'm gonna let it play some more, and then we'll get into these precepts. Spirit flowing now, no brothers feeling.
In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see, most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them they are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people.
So he said a lot there, okay? And we're going to get into these precepts now, you know. So he said, you know, it don't matter, you know, what you show. You can show them white is white and black is black. They won't believe it. You can shower them with information and they won't believe it. Okay. And then he said, well, the only way to reverse is to re-educate. And this is why the scriptures say what we have to be born again. We have to come as little children. Brothers can post it. Okay. Well, let's get this in if a brother posted 2 Corinthians 4 and 3 as well. Let's post in 2 Corinthians 4 and 3. You know? I mean 4 and 4, so like 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. Because the main point in verse 4. Okay. So I'm gonna let it. All right, this is brother Bayan Yashala. All right, this is Matthew 18 and 3. And it says, and said, verily I say unto you, except you be converted and become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. And this is why we all as men and women had to be converted and become born again. Okay, all them old, because everything that we've been taught has been anti-Messiah programming. Everything that we was brought up in this society was based on anti-Messiah programming. Okay, women on pedestals and being worshipped, and a woman telling the man what to do. That's disorder. Okay, accepting of the alphabet community, praising, drug dealers. All this is because it's anti-life. We praise men that kill the neighborhood, whether they do it through poisoning, through the drugs, or they're actively, just blasting other niggas away. Those are the niggas that's praised, man. Okay, why is that, man? Because we've been demoralized. We was demoralized, man. But the righteousness is bringing us back. If brother can get that Isaiah 6, not Isaiah, or Jeremiah 6 and 16. That's why we had to be as little children, humble, okay, knowing nothing, and being taught in order again, righteousness again. Okay, this world then teaches how to be men, husbands, leaders, and judges. Okay, the world didn't teach you. This society hasn't been teaching women, all right, how to be wives and mothers. These things wasn't taught. Okay. This 2 Corinthians 4 and 3 said, but if our gospel be hid, it is to them that are lost. Okay. You see that? And why is the gospel hid? Why are they lost? Okay. So you go here to verse 4 and it explains it. All right, that was the brother Naquan 5. All right, but the brother, let's see. Yep, via Spirit 144 put the 4th verse. In whom the gods of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not. And who the gods of this world? These elites. They're the rulers. Okay? They control every aspect of people's reality, man. What they eat, okay? The food dumbs you down. That opens you up, to the manipulations and the enchantments. Okay? They control the music. They control, prices and economies and okay, the religions, war. They control all these things, man. And they have the masses blinded, man, mainly through media and entertainment and so-called education and religion, man, which are all based on what? Information. Your education, so-called education system, so-called religious system, okay? Your media, your so-called news, and your entertainment, man. Those four things, all right, push a lot of information to the masses, man. And it has the masses blinded. Okay, so reading again, 2 Corinthians 4:4, in whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not, least the light of the glorious gospel of Yahushua, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them. You see, and we've received the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach. All right, this is why we have the way. You see, we're understanding how to live. When the scripture talking about how the word is life, we're understanding how to live. We're understanding how to exist in righteousness. We're getting the instructions of how to exist in righteousness, man. Okay, which is deprogramming us from this madness, man. What's that? Romans 12 and 1. Baba Kashah. Yep, this the brother. Via the Spirit 144 again. This is Jeremiah 6:16. Thus said the Lord, stand you in the ways and seek and ask for the old paths, the ways of order that our forefathers and our foremothers walked in when they was in order, man. When we was in order as a people. This is what we're coming back to, man. Where's the good way? Because we went the other way, man. It's terrible. Okay? It is terrible, man. When you go to the Walmart's, a nigga with his pants off his ass, okay, rapping Gucci, man. Okay? Why does that exist, man? Because we went another way as a people. You see? Hey, niggas shooting up the graduation, the high school game. These niggas exist because we went the other way. You see these little women twerking on the cars at the gas station, okay, in the restaurant, with anything on, Why do these things exist? Because we went the other way. We left the good way. Okay? And who promoted that? Esau, Edom. And it says, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we shall not. Okay? And this is the masses of our people who refuse, to come. They said you will walk, they will not walk therein. The masses of our people refuse to walk in their righteous way, man. Okay? Because they still see the way of the serpent is being lit. All right? Because of their instant gratification, man. But one thing is we, as righteousness become our lifestyle, man, there's a peace, there's a rest that this world that we never got in this society, man. Okay? Being in tune with our power, living a life that's pleasing to our power, there's a rest that we never got from this society, man. Okay? So I'm gonna let some more play and get them some more precepts. If brother can get that in Romans 12:1. Baba Kashah. Come on, brother. Matter of fact, since you said that, get that since you said that, brother, get that Isaiah 1:9 as well. We through. This generation is done, and this man, he's prepping up another one, man. Okay. So I'm gonna let this play some more, then we'll get some more precepts.
Who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society.
And yet these people who've been programmed and, as you say, in place and
Yes.
who are favorable to an opening with the Soviet concept, these are the very people who would be marked for extermination in this country?
Most of them, yes, simply because the psychological shock when they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, obviously they will revolt. They will be very unhappy, frustrated people, and the Marxist-Leninist regime does not tolerate these people. They will join the links of dissenters, dissidents. Unlike in present United States, there will be no place for dissent in future Marxist-Leninist America. Here you can get popular like Daniel Ellsberg and filthy rich like Jane Fonda for being dissident, for criticizing your Pentagon. In future, these people will be simply squashed like cockroaches. Nobody is going to pay them nothing for their beautiful, noble ideas of equality. This they don't understand, and it will be greatest shock for them, of course. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years, actually it's overfulfilled, because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. So basically, America is stuck with demoralization, and unless, even if you start right now, here, this minute, you start educating new generation of Americans, it will still take you 15 to 20 years to turn the tide of ideological perception of reality back to normalcy and patriotism. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time.
So I'm gonna stop it there. I put the link in the comment, in the chat. If you want to watch the rest of it, it's some more good information, some more meat on it. Okay, but we get the gist of it, man. All right. This man, he said once you're demoralized, okay, you're unable, okay, to receive any truth. Like once you reach a certain level of being demoralized, because you think Trans Am wants to hear anything about truth. You think he wants to hear anything about who the Edomites are, who the Israelites. They so engulfed in demons and enchanted, that's not even a concern. And the brother can put that too in Isaiah 1 and 3. Okay. The scriptures go into all these things, man. The effects of demoralization and sociological subversion. If a brother can put that word subversion up there as well, that definition. This is brother GMS Spiritual Art 144, Isaiah 30 and 3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, okay? And the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. All right, and we know this is spiritual Egypt this time, man. Okay, and the more our people trust in America and the standards and the philosophies and the system of America, the more confused they are. The more our people are only becoming more confused, more shameful. Okay, by trusting in this man and his information. All right, and as the brother said, it's the Wali al-Bashim al-Shah for a remnant, man. But Yasha Allah, it's Isaiah 1 and 9. Except the Lord of hosts had left us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Okay? It would have been as Sodom and Gomorrah. Done. No morals, man. Just anything goes, man. If it wasn't a remnant, because the remnant is the only thing that's combating this man directly, these devils directly, man. Okay? And this is why we know he's setting the stage to demonize us and use his witchcraft, okay, to make us look like a villain, okay, because this is the biggest threat to the new world order is the truth in the spirit of Yahushua, man. You see, but he wants to turn people, he wants to turn the earth into a big Sodom and Gomorrah, man. Look at what he's teaching the kindergartners. What he's teaching the kindergartners lets you know his plans for the next, all right, for the next generation, man. Okay, and we went into it before. Matter of fact, let me get it. Get the word subversion. All right. All right. This is GMS Spiritual Art 144. This is the definition for subversion. You want the water, brother. It's a refer to a process by which the values and principles of a system in place are contradicted or reversed in an attempt to transform the established social order and the structure of power, authority, tradition, hierarchy, and social norms. Okay? And this is what we've been experiencing is subversion. Okay? From morals and in the right way to what? Wickedness and perverseness, man. All right? What's that? Isaiah 19 and 15. Perverse, he will mingle a perverse spirit. Okay, in Egypt. All right, let's read it again. Subversion refers to a process by which the values and principle of a system in a place are contradicted or reversed in an attempt, okay, to transform the established social order and its structure of power, okay, authority, tradition, hierarchy, and social norms. Okay. Now this man has made wickedness as if it was right, man. Okay, what darkness is as the light. Okay, let me see if I can find this. This brother posted a video. I think the brother. Let me see. Let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, here we go. Now watch this. Hold on. Now watch this madness, man. Hold on.
What's Josie's now?
It's kind of small, so I don't know if you can see it, but pretty much what you got, you know, I know it's like small as hell, but pretty much you got, you know, this Mo dancing on this imitation. Okay, they got it as if, you know, the Messiah is on the cross. Okay, and they got this Mo pretty much twerking on him, you know, dancing on him. You see, that's the norm. They couldn't have did that in the early 90s, man. Okay, There'll be a screen uproar, but they can do it now because they done already trained the generation of adults now have already been trained to be anti-Messiah and perverse and lewd. Okay? It's the brother hopeful elect behavior. Isaiah 19:4. The Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof as a drunken man staggered in his vomit. Okay? And we're seeing, all right, a society that's staggering in the vomit. Okay, and what's causing them to throw up? The Babylon juice, man. This is people just staggering and vomiting and still trying to exist like it's normal, man. Existing in filth, man. Okay, let's go here. So I got another video I want to get into, but like I say, it's on the brother GMS. Fear the Most High Ba. All right, let me see. You just want to look at the madness, As I know it's small on them, but I got another video I got queued up, and it's gonna go into propaganda, Okay, yep.
The American historian Howard
Now this guy here, Academy of Ideas, he has some pretty good videos. Another video dealing with democracy. I plan on going into, Lord will, but he's he has pretty good content, pretty informative, straight to the point, not super long. So just, if you want to subscribe to that channel, kind of go into some things, but yeah, so this is an introduction to propaganda. So he's going to go into, propaganda, just dealing with the topic of propaganda. So I'm going to let it play and go from there.
The American historian Howard Zinn wrote, "If those in charge of our society, politicians, corporate executives, and owners of press and television, can dominate our ideas, they will be secure in their power. They will not need soldiers patrolling the streets. We will control ourselves." In this day and age, we are exposed to enormous amounts of propaganda, some of which is used for the purpose of manipulating us into thinking and acting in ways which only further the interests of small minorities. The purpose of this lecture is to examine propaganda and communicate information which will hopefully enable individuals to arm themselves against the dangerous effects of propaganda. It should be noted that we will draw largely from the classic work by Jacques Ellul, Propaganda, the Formation of Men's Attitudes. Propaganda can be defined as a type of persuasion tactic which displays three general characteristics. Firstly, propaganda is deliberately made by an individual or group of individuals, called the propagandist, for the purpose of manipulating individuals into adopting certain ideas and behaviors. Secondly, propaganda never presents an issue in a clear and unbiased manner. Instead, propaganda attempts to present one side of an issue as if it were an absolute truth. Adolf Hitler, who with the help of his propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels implemented one of the most massive propaganda campaigns of the 20th century, captured this characteristic with these words: "The function of propaganda is not to make an objective study of the truth and then set it before the masses with academic fairness. Its task is to serve our own right, always and unflinchingly."
I could never go on vacation. Running my renovation and contracting business took up all of my time until I found Jobber.
Finally, propaganda tends to use psychological manipulation tactics and to play on the emotions and prejudices of individuals so as to convince them that the idea, action, or attitude they adopted was one they chose through their own personal volition. This last feature of propaganda is what can make it especially dangerous. Jacques Ellul provided a chilling description of the individual whose personality has been thoroughly molded by propaganda. When he recites his propaganda lesson and says that he is thinking for himself, when his eyes see nothing and his mouth only produces sounds previously stenciled into his brain, when he says that he is indeed expressing his judgment, then he really demonstrates that he no longer thinks at all, ever, and that he does not exist as a person. It should be noted that as a persuasion tactic, propaganda is value neutral, or in other words, neither good nor bad. The 20th century propaganda theorist Howard Laswell wrote that propaganda as a tool is no more moral or immoral than a pump handle. While propaganda is merely a tool, moral judgments can be made regarding the ends for which propaganda is used, and it is because propaganda has so often been used for nefarious purposes that today it is widely considered as evil in and of itself. Propaganda, according to Philip Taylor, author of Munitions of the Mind, can be distinguished from education in that while propaganda tells people what to think, education teaches people how to think. However, as educational systems have long been used as vehicles to disseminate propaganda, the distinction between education and propaganda is often blurry. As a persuasion tactic, propaganda in one form or another has been used for virtually the entire course of human history. Yet the word propaganda was first used in 1622. In that year, Pope Gregory XV established the Congregation for the Propagation of the Faith. The main function of the congregation was to defend the doctrines of Catholicism against challenges arising from the Protestant Reformation. The early 20th century is usually identified as an important turning point in the history of propaganda, as it was during this period that so-called modern propaganda emerged. What differentiates modern propaganda from all earlier forms of propaganda is the use of mass media, such as radio and television, as a medium to disseminate propaganda. Britain and the United States were the first countries to utilize mass media in this manner, and thus the countries where modern propaganda originated. The utilization of mass media allowed propagandists to reach audiences on a scale never before imagined. The American George Creel, author of the book How We Advertised America, is considered one of the forefathers of modern propaganda. Creel was a friend of Woodrow Wilson, who was the president during America's entry into World War I. Wilson called on George Creel to organize a committee which came to be known as the Committee on Public Information, or the Creel Commission, whose purpose was to create propaganda in order to transform the attitude of the American population into one of war-hungry patriotic excitement. As Noam Chomsky explained, such a propaganda campaign was highly successful. The Creel Commission succeeded within 6 months in turning a pacifist population into a hysterical warmongering population which wanted to destroy everything German, tear the Germans limb from limb, go to war and save the world. Britain also made extensive use of propaganda during World War I, and Hitler, who once famously stated, "Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda, all that matters is propaganda," was intrigued by the success of the Allied war propaganda. Explaining the effect such propaganda had on him, Hitler wrote, "But it was not until the war that it became evident what immense results can be obtained by a correct application of propaganda. Here again, unfortunately, all our study had to be done on the enemy side, for the activity on our side was modest, to say the least. For what we failed to do, the enemy did with amazing skill and really brilliant calculation. I myself learned enormously from this enemy war propaganda." One of the most prevalent types of propaganda, and the type which will concern us for the remainder of the lecture, is political propaganda. Political propaganda is propaganda used by a government, state, or political party for the purpose of altering the ideas and behavior of individuals in order to achieve certain political or economic ends. All political propaganda is vertical propaganda, in the sense that it is made by a propagandist who creates and implements propaganda while standing over and above the ignorant population. Classic propaganda, as one usually thinks of it, is a vertical propaganda, in the sense that it is made by a leader, a technician, a political or religious head who acts from the superior position of his authority and seeks to influence the crowd below. Such propaganda comes from above. It is conceived in the secret recesses of political enclaves. It uses all technical methods of centralized mass communication. It envelops a mass of individuals, but those who practice it are on the outside.
And the propaganda that we're seeing is mostly a vertical propaganda, okay, where you have these small, all right, portion of elites, okay, that work through these puppet leaders, these people that are in authority, to push their propaganda. Okay, and the elites own all, okay, major media. Everything is on, and pretty much the media is pretty much centralized. Okay, that's why the world gets the same information, the same narrative. You see, and this way, and see the dangerous thing about propaganda with Esau's media, what he does, just like with civil rights, you know, he made it seem as if Jake everywhere was just trying to fight to integrate with so-called white people, as if Jake was just, you know, so enthusiastic about, you know, joining, you know, society and communities with so-called white people. Okay, and he put it on loop to now the average Jake think it's an accomplishment or some type of achievement to be integrated, right, with Esau. You know, to the point now you have the masses of Jake fighting to be integrated. When being integrated, Jake was doing their own thing. Jake had their own communities. Jake had family. Okay, Jake had their economics. Jake had, you know, skilled men. Okay, Jake had their own thing going, man. Okay, but through propaganda, he pushed this narrative as Jake just had this dire enthusiasm to be joined, all right, with these devils, man. Okay, then he propped up certain leaders. Martin Luther King, okay, was one of the main ones. All right, and then Malcolm X, who he was infiltrated as well. All these leaders, all right, are infiltrated, man, and set up, even if they start off sincere, man. Okay, but you have all these different, you know, leaders that, you know, this man sets up to make, you know, to play on the emotions of the masses, man. Okay, we shall overcome. Overcome what, man? Being integrated wasn't no victory, man, but he pushes integration as if it was a victory. Okay, then you had the feminist movement. Here it is. He'll take and a lot of these be paid, you know, agents. He'll get them, because all it takes for him to film one protest of women being fed up, and then it plants a seed in the millions. With his media, he can plant the seed of women being fed up, playing on their emotions, man. Okay, here it is. He can have one protest that he films, and then he puts it on loop, and the women have these different testimonies, and guess what? Other women starting to relate to it. So now he done started a narrative, okay, that women are oppressed, man. You see, within their order, they're oppressed. This is how this man gets down. This is how this man moves, man. The goddamn devil. Okay? I'm gonna let it play a little more, you know.
People often assume that political propaganda mainly consists of lies, fabrications, and extreme distortions of reality. Hitler is famous for claiming the bigger the lie, the more likely it will be believed, while Arthur Ponsonby, the author of the book Falsehood in Wartime, once wrote, "When war is declared, truth is the first victim." Yet, as Ilol pointed out, although political propaganda sometimes consists of big lies, modern political propagandists more often than not are committed to the use of true facts. In other words, true facts are chosen and presented to the public, yet only for the purpose of supporting and substantiating false and distorted interpretations of events. The reasoning behind this tactic is that if one questions the interpretation put forth by the propagandist can provide evidence that the facts they presented were true, and therefore fool the public into thinking that their interpretations must also be true. Propaganda is necessarily false when it interprets and colors facts and imputes meaning to them. It is true when it serves up the plain fact, but does so only for the sake of establishing a pretense and only as an example of the interpretation that it supports with that fact. Another common misconception about political propaganda is the belief that the masses would be better off without it. While such a view seems fairly sensible, Ilol thoroughly disagreed with it. Rather, Hillel believed that political propaganda imposes meaning and intelligibility on the often chaotic course of world events. While individuals of centuries past would often look to the church to provide such explanations, now more often than not, people look to politicians. And it is political propagandists who impose order and coherence on history through the creation of stories which place the state in an almost deified position. Propaganda eliminates anxieties stemming from irrational and disproportionate fears, for it gives man assurances equivalent to those formerly given him by religion. It offers him a simple and clear explanation of the world in which he lives, to be sure, a false explanation far removed from reality, but one that is obvious and satisfying. It hands him a key with which he can open all doors. There is no more mystery. Everything can be explained thanks to propaganda. It gives him special glasses through which he can look at present-day history and clearly understand what it means. It hands him a guideline with which he can recover the general line running through all incoherent events. Now the world ceases to be hostile and menacing.
Got a technical background? Looking to go remote and get paid more? Become a software engineer in
To conclude this lecture, we will consider the role of propaganda in modern-day democracies. A democracy is based on the notion that the voting population has influence on the policies which a government implements. However, Hillel proposed that modern propaganda has given democratic governments the power to desecrate the democratic process by increasingly deciding on policies independent of the voting population. After policies have been created by those in positions of power, propaganda is then used to shape public opinion and manipulate the voting population into desiring exactly what the government has already decided to do.
So you got peep game. Okay. Here it is. He gives you the delusion. All right. The illusion of freedom, the illusion of the people control the government. But nah, he controls the people. Okay. Remember, propaganda, all right, makes you think, all right, how they want you to think. Okay. But the craftiness of it, they make it seem as if you came up with that thought on your own. You came up with this mindset on your own. Here it is. They give you repetitions of how to think of this constant news and, constant media, constant newspapers, constant images, pretty much coercing you how to think. Okay. And then in your mind, you're thinking that you came up with these conclusions, all right, based on your standards and your morals, man. Okay, so they program the masses how to think, and then they turn the masses loose and tell them go vote. Okay, so pretty much they are already whatever you see being pushed, whatever you see, all right, that they have in loop, that's what they want. So they push that on the masses. So they already have to break it down in simplest terms, they teach the masses, okay, to accept what they already want to bring. Okay? So through propaganda, they teach the masses to accept what they already want to bring, and then they turn the masses loose and let them vote. And the masses, all right, are going to vote on something that they already want to do anyway, that the government want to do anyway, man. Okay, this man is crafty in wickedness, man. You see? So I'm gonna run it back, play a little bit more of it. Yeah, it's the main part though.
Implements. However, Hillel proposed that modern propaganda has given democratic governments the power to desecrate the democratic process by increasingly deciding on policies independent of the voting population. After policies have been created by those in positions of power, propaganda is then used to shape public opinion and manipulate the voting population into desiring exactly what the government has already decided to do. The point is to make the masses demand of the government what the government has already decided to do. If it follows this procedure, the government can no longer be called authoritarian, because the will of the people demands what is being done. As Hillel warned, when a democratic government uses propaganda to convince the masses to want what it has already decided to do, in reality, a democracy no longer exists. Once democracy becomes the object of propaganda, it also becomes as totalitarian, authoritarian, and exclusive as dictatorship. With his critique of modern democracy, Ellul was in no way attacking it solely for the sake of discrediting it, nor in his analysis of propaganda was he belittling the modern individual who he thought to be a willing victim of propaganda. On the contrary, as he explains in the following passage, Ellul thought that to warn one of the dangers which propaganda poses both to society and the individual is of the greatest service to mankind. For it is only when a danger is recognized as a danger that mankind can fight against it. To warn a political system of the menace hanging over it does not imply an attack against it, but is the greatest service one can render the system. The same goes for man. To warn him of his weakness is not to attempt to destroy him, but rather to encourage him to strengthen himself. I insist that to give such a warning is an act in the defense of man, that I am not judging propaganda with Olympian detachment, and that having suffered, felt, and analyzed the impact of the power of propaganda on myself, I want to speak of it as a menace which threatens the total personality.
So he has a another video dealing with democracy, which Lord will, we'll do that separate. We'll go into that separately, man. Okay. And this is why the scriptures say we have to be washed with his word, man. My brother can put that in John 15:3. Okay. Let's see, get some of these precepts. All right, it's the brother GMS Spiritual Art 144, Psalms 64:2 says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Okay, and propaganda is all discussed, before it's rolled out into the media. It's discussed in these secret councils of the wicked, man. These higher ups, these elites. Okay, and they roll it out to the masses, man. I think that Ephesians 5, going to being washed, by the word. Psalms 119 and is it 9, being cleansed. Okay, it says, who wet their tongue like a sword. Yeah, they have weaponized their media, man. Like Jake is killing each other based off media and entertainment. Okay, Jake has turned entertainment into real life, man. And the entertainment has instructed Jake to do what, man? Kill each other. The woman to be what? Careless, loose. Okay, poison the neighborhood, break families up. So they have weaponized the media, weaponized entertainment, and says, who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot the arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect, because it's mainly aimed at Jake, man. Okay, and you go into the word shoot, one of the definitions to instruct. Okay, the mannerism that niggas have today, they was instructed to act like that. The mannerism of the nigga women of today, the modern woman, they was instructed to act like that, man. Through what, man? Propaganda. Okay, entertainment. It said that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. Okay. They encourage themselves in the evil matter. They commune on laying snares. It was a trap privily. They say, who shall see them? Because the elites been in the background orchestrating the confusion and chaos and the dysfunction that we exist in today. They've been doing this, and for the longest, no one could put it together because we thought we was coming to these conclusions on our own. No, we was being coerced and rehearsed, okay, into thinking and moving like the way we were, man. Okay, complete degenerate and complete anti-Messiah. Verse 6, it says, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. Okay, They're deep into their wickedness, man. All right, they study psychology, they study human behavior, the nervous system, the digestive system, the neuro system. They go into all these things, man. Okay, to accomplish their agenda, man, and wickedness, man. All right, but this part has to play out too. But the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. And the first arrow that the Lord has shot is this spiritual arrow, man, of the prophets. Okay, then it's going to be a physical one, man, of the nukes. You see? So let's go down here. All right. Yep, let's get this. And this is why, it's vital that we're being cleansed by this word. Spiritual Art 144. John 15:3. Now are you clean through the word which I have spoken unto you? And what are we being cleansed from? The filth. Okay, this word is deprogramming us from wickedness and programming us in righteousness, man. Okay, that's Psalms 119:9. All right, how can a young man cleanse his way? All right, by taking heed thereto according to the word. All right, so this word is cleansing us from the filth that we've been bathing in this society, man. Okay, through demoralization, propaganda, subversion, tactics. All right, the devil, man. So that's the point. I'll leave it there. The point been made. Like I say, Lord will. I've seen a couple of more videos from Buddy. Going into some things, and Lord we'll touch on that as well. So Lord will, you brothers, and you few sisters were edified once again. Gonna give all praise and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua by Hashem, Kakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, rule well, teach well, being great example towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.